If you love the blues, you found your new home. The Blues Hotel. Real music. Just talking blues. Real stories. And Blues Moments in Time. The history that shaped it all. 3 podcasts. 1 home. The Blues Hotel Collective. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
This episode of Blues Moments in Time includes historical discussion of racism and systemic injustice in the United States and may include the names and stories of people who are no longer with us. We approach these topics in a factual, educational context, but listener discretion is advised.
From the Blues Hotel Collective, welcome to Blues Moments in Time, where every groove holds a memory and every moment echoes the truth of what came before. Today, we rewind the reel, trace the footsteps, and revisit the chapters that shaped the blues. Here is our host, Kelvin Huggins.
Today we trace the Great Migration, the movement that carried the blues out of the Delta and into the soul of a nation. We mark the moment Buddy Guy finally got his flowers at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We celebrate the birthday of Shirley Scott, the Queen of the Organ, and we remember 2 remarkable losses: songwriter Doc Pomus and Delta bluesman Big Jack Johnson. I'm Kelvin Huggins. This is Blues Moments in Time for March 14. We'll begin with the cultural landscape. In the early 20th century, a river of people began moving north and west, 6 million African Americans leaving the rural South between 1916 and 1970. They carried their clothes, their hopes, and their music. The blues didn't just travel with them, it explained the journey. Race records of the 20s and 30s acted like musical travel guides, telling working people there was somewhere else to be. When migrants reached Chicago, Detroit, and St. Louis, the Delta sound got louder, faster, electric. March 14 sits inside that long arc, a reminder that the blues was never just music, it was maps, it was memory, and it was movement. Now the political climate. To understand why people left, you have to understand what they were leaving. Sharecropping kept black farmers locked in debt. Mississippi's 1890 Constitution stripped away voting rights through poll taxes, literacy tests, and intimidation. Survival meant working land you didn't own. Big Jack Johnson's father, Ellis, was one of those sharecroppers, picking cotton by day, playing fiddle at night. Jack learned from him and stayed rooted in the Delta his whole life. He hauled oil by day and played the blues by night. Millions left, some stayed. Both choices shaped the music. And of course, no discussion of blues history would be complete without exploring the music itself. March 14, 2005, New York City, Buddy Guy walks into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Born in Lettsworth, Louisiana, sharpened in Chicago, Buddy Guy's guitar style was a lightning bolt, wild, stinging, emotional. Clapton called him the greatest, Hendrix studied him, Stevie Ray Vaughan worshipped him. But mainstream recognition was slow, so when he was inducted alongside Percy Sledge and the OJs, it felt overdue. Tracks like Stone Crazy and Damn Right I've Got the Blues shows the full force of a man who plays like every note might be his last. And behind the scenes, Buddy played on countless chess record sessions, often uncredited. That invisible labour is its own blues story. Now this date also marks the birth of a remarkable figure. March 14, 1934, Philadelphia, Shirley Scott is born. She grew up in a house where music lived in the basement. She tried piano, tried trumpet, then stepped in as an emergency organist one night and found her voice. On the Hammond B3, she played with a lightness and freedom that set her apart. Blues and gospel lived under every phrase. They called her the Queen of the Organ. Over 50 albums, collaborations with Eddie Lockjaw Davis and Stanley Turrentine. If you want the essence, listen to Blues Everywhere, a trio setting where she lets the room breathe. And finally, we remember those we lost on this date. March 14, 1991, Doc Pomus passed away at 65. A Brooklyn kid with polio who loved the blues so much he snuck into Harlem clubs as a teenager. When the industry wouldn't take him seriously as a performer, he picked up a pen and wrote over 1,000 songs. Save the Last Dance for Me, This Magic Moment, Viva Las Vegas. He wrote for Elvis, Ray Charles, Benny King. Bob Dylan came to him for help. Lou Reed read from his journals. Now the story goes that Doc wrote Save the Last Dance for Me at his own wedding, watching his wife dance with guests while he sat unable to join. That lyric became his way of being there anyway. He was later inducted into both the Rock and Roll and the Blues Hall of Fame. March 14, 2011, we lost Big Jack Johnson in Clarksdale, Mississippi. The oil man, one of 18 children, a guitarist from 13, an oil truck driver by day, a Delta bluesman every night. He kept the raw Delta sound alive, not as nostalgia, but as truth. He wrote about AIDS, domestic violence, Hurricane Katrina. He co-founded the Jelly Roll Kings, appeared in Deep Blues, and spent his final years playing at Red's Lounge on Highway 61. He's buried alongside that same road. What ties this March 14 together is the question of what do you do with the life you're given and where you want to plant yourself. Doc Pomus couldn't dance, so he wrote songs about dancing. Big Jack Johnson stayed home and made the Delta speak. Shirley Scott stepped in for someone else and became a queen. And 6 million people looked north and carried their music with them. The blues has always lived in that tension, the weight of what it is and the reach for what could be. And that's today's Blues Moments in Time. Join me next time as we continue exploring the remarkable history of the blues.